find the circumference of a circle and the perimeter of a sector. Now, you may note that we've got two shapes here. We're going to be tackling A first, and then we'll move on to B. Then we'll move on to some your turns, so please get ready for that. So, question A is relating to circle here. It's a 3 centimeter, and that's referring to the radius. If you remember from your previous video, the radius is measured from the origin of the circle, the center, to the circumference, which is the outside of the circle. The question says, find the circumference of this circle as an exact value and correct to 2 decimal places. So we're going to tackle that now. So we want to find the circumference of a circle. Now we know that the circumference of the circle is equal to 2 times pi times r. We also know that the radius given is 3 centimeters. Therefore, the circumference is 2 times pi times 3. If we collect these terms and leave the pi as it is, we need to concentrate on the two numbers instead. 2 times pi times 3, we can group the numbers together and make this 6 pi. Now, this is known as an exact value. So, you could say that the circumference of the circle is 6 pi centimeters. So this is called an exact value. Now, if we want to calculate it as to 2 decimal places, instead we've got to use the pi button. So you may note that 6 times by shift, and then down here you see the pi button is there, 6 pi. Now we've got our answer of the circumference is 18.849 ... To correct to 2 decimal places, I put 18.85 and then add my units again, centimeters. What I want to see in a test, well, I'd like to see this for a start with some substitution and using the right formula. The next, so we want to use substitution and using the right formula. The next is I'd like to see this as an exact value in terms of pi and the units. For 2 decimal places, make sure you round correctly. This 9 is going to round up this 4 here to 5. So make sure you've rounded appropriately, and yet again, put in your units. Let's move on to the sector. Now the sector may seem a little bit more unusual, but if push comes to shove, just make sure that you use the formula. The formula for a sector is the perimeter is equal to 2r plus theta on 360 degrees times 2 pi r. The 2r comes from these two bits. Both of these are r. These are both the same. So, I'll highlight this in green. The 2r comes from there's 2 radiuses. The next part is this here. This part is the arc, just here. So this arc is equal to this. So let's sub in our values and find the perimeter. 2 times by 7, that's the radius, plus theta. Now theta in this case is 100 degrees. Sub it in with our radius as well, and let's collect our terms. Now, we want to simplify this. Now, your calculator is quite clever at this. Over here, we have 103.60. So just to show you what the calculator can do, let's put in 100 on 360. Enter. Wow, your calculator has simplified that for you. So let's use the power of the calculator to simplify this fraction for us. And we're just timesing together the numbers, and out pops 35 on 9. And we add the pi to the top, and then we add our units of meters. We have now found our exact value. Now, it's asked for exact value and correct to 2 decimal places, so let's find that. 14 plus 35 shift to find pi on 9. We press enter and out pops this answer. To correct to 2 decimal places is 26.22, and then our units is meters. So this is 2 dp. When doing these problems, make sure to recognize the shape. This is a sector, so we need to use our sector equation. The next thing is subbing in, and then the next step is to use the calculator to simplify. You can also simplify yourself. Exact means leave the pi in. Correct to 2 decimal places, you just put it into the calculator. And there we go, we've found the circumference of a circle and the perimeter of a sector. What I'd like you to do now is have a crack at these two problems. I'm going to scroll down, pause the video, and then have a shot at these. We'll be now going through these problems. So we're asked to find the circumference of the circle. Here we go. Circumference is 2 times pi times r. As an exact solution, and don't forget to put in the units of meters, okay? And if we want to find the actual answer, 8 pi equals 25.13 at the units meters. There we go, we've done the first problem. Let's do the next problem, B. First thing, we recognize that this is a sector, so we want to find the perimeter of a sector. Let's write down our equation. Next, we sub in our values. We know r, in this case, is 2, and the angle is 80 degrees. 4 plus, and let's use our calculator to simplify for us. You may be asked to do this without a calculator, so you will have to be able to simplify yourselves, but I just find this approach is quite easy. We have 8 or 9, add the pi to the numerator, and then add the units again. In this case, it's millimeters. What happens if they didn't ask you to do this? Well, what we can do, if they ask you to find the 2 decimal places, is we just times the answer by pi and add 4. And we've gone to 2 decimal places again. That's our default. So I hope now you know how to find the circumference and the perimeter of these two shapes.